Hello students, today we are going to see Unit 4, the topic caste system. The social structure of Indian society is characterized by unique social institution called caste. It is the one of the ancient social institution prevailing in India since time immemorial. Institutions similar to caste have been reported from Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Nepal, and certain other countries, especially where Indians have migrated in large number. Because the system which emerged out of the Varna system has withstood the onslaughts of its time and continues to exist even at present. The caste system which emerged out of Varna system that has been withstood the onslaughts of time and continues to exist even at present. Caste system offers interesting issues for sociological studies, debates and discussion. It is difficult to understand the complex system of caste in its entirely, though attempts are being made in this direction both by Indian and other Western scholars. That is known as caste system. And its definition, which is said by C.H. Coley, when a class is somewhat strictly hereditary, we may call it as a caste. When a class system is somewhat strictly followed through hereditary, that is followed by ancient times itself, that is hereditary means kalam kalama, we may call it as a caste. This definition is said by C.H. Coley. And some of the factors which facilitated the growth of caste system in India. These are the factors that has been facilitated the caste system growth in India. First factor is the geographical isolation. The geographical isolation of Indian peninsula for a long time made the people to foster old custom, mores, tradition and superstition beliefs, which in turn encouraged the caste system to grow. Though India is a peninsular country, we can't able to get that much growth to come out from those kind of superstition beliefs. That has been the main reason which has been, that is mean old custom, mores, tradition and superstition belief. These things have been the major reason for facilitating the growth of caste system in India. And second factor is influence of religion. The influence of religion is one of the main factors that caused the continuation of the caste system. The Hindu caste system is looked upon as a divine institution. The beliefs, those things have been strengthened the Hindu system through the caste. That is what the second factor, influence of religion in caste system. And the third factor, the existence of many races in the country. The existence of many races in the country led to the formulation of many strict laws concerning discrimination, since each race endeavored to maintain its purity. The existence of many races in our country has been made the laws to get even more strict. This discrimination has made due to purity, in the name of purity, the discrimination had been emerged. This is the third factor, the existence of many races. And fourth one is the rural social structure. The rural and social structure has its own impact on the caste. The unchanging, static rural social structure of India favored the growth of caste system. Though our India is not that much well grown up, we have been still following our old customs, beliefs, and so on. This system, this social structure, this rural social structure has been an important factor to our growth of caste system. And the sixth one is lack of education. The lack of education has contributed in no small measures to the growth of caste system. Illiteracy have made the people to become more orthodox and implicity to accept the caste rules and restrictions. And some of the characteristics of caste. These characteristics, any attempt to define caste is bound to fail because of the complexity of the phenomena. Mr. Dr. G.S. Gray, he described some of the characteristics of caste in his work, that is caste and race in India. The following are the main characteristics that is been derived from Dr. G.S. Gray. These are the 6 characteristics that is been derived from the Dr. G.S. Gray. First characteristic, as a segmental division of society. Actually, the Hindu society is a caste-ridden society. We have been divided into number of segments called caste. Many different segments of caste. It is not a homogeneous society. Caste are groups with a well-defined boundary of their own. The status of every individual is determined by his or her birth and not by the selection that has been accomplished. No amount of power, prestige can be changed the position of man, even though whatever the position the individual has been gained. But still now we have been talking about the caste of that individual's person. That is what as a segmental division of society is saying. Each caste has its own custom, traditional practices and rituals. It has its own informal rules, regulation and procedure. There were caste council or caste panchayat to regulate or conduct meetings with their members. The caste used to help its members when they are found in distress. In this way only, the segmental division of each and every society has been with the caste system. And second characteristic of this caste system is hierarchical division of society. The Hindu society is a gradational one. It is divided into several small groups called caste or subcaste. A sense of higher caste or a superiority is associated with the ranking. For example, Brahmins are placed at the top at the hierarchy and they have been regarded as a superior or a pure, whereas the degraded caste are so-called untouchables, origins. have occupied the other end of the hierarchy. All over India, neither the superiority of the Brahmin nor the degrade position of the outcast has been questioned till now. But regarding to the exact position of other intermediary caste, there have been dispute on the part of the members. The caste and subcaste together make up the Hindu social system. Still, in some respects, each caste is isolated from others. It is a way semi-sovereign. The caste are the complete world. It forms the complete world to the members for themselves. Each members are expected to be loyal to the caste. The caste system has been divided as per the hierarchy division. Each caste system has been behaving with their own members or with their own subcaste. And the third characteristic is restrictions on feeding and social intercourse. Under this characteristics, we are going to see two different forms: restrictions on food habits and restriction on social relationship. The caste system has imposed certain restrictions on the food habits of the members. They differ from caste to caste. Who should accept what kind of food and from whom is often decided by the caste. For example, in North India, a Brahmin would accept a food prepared from ghee only for some caste lower than his own, but he could accept the food prepared use of water on the other caste except of his own. As a matter of rule and practice, no individual would accept food prepared by a man of an inferior caste. Generally, any kind of food that is prepared by a Brahmin is acceptable to all the caste people. This factor explains as to why the Brahmins dominated the hotel industry for a long time. Further restrictions are also still there on using of a certain vegetable for certain caste. Even today, some traditional Brahmins do not use onion, cabbage, carrot, beetroot, etc. Eating beef is also not allowed in Brahmin. This is known as restrictions on food habit. And secondly, restrictions on social relationship. The caste system puts restriction on the range of social relation also. The idea of pollution makes this point clear. It means a touch of a lower caste man would pollute a man of higher caste. Even their shadow is considered to be enough to pollute a higher caste man. In Kerala, long time a caste called Nair could approach Nambudri but could not touch him. In Tamil Nadu also, the Sahanar, today 2D tapper, was expected to keep a distance of 24 paces while approaching a Brahmin. This has resulted in the practice of untouchability. This practice has made the lower caste people to be segregated completely from the higher caste. These are all the restrictions that has been given to the lower caste people by the higher class socially. And the fourth characteristic is civil and religious disability and privileges of different sections. In the traditional caste, some lower caste people suffered from certain civil or social disabilities. Generally, the impure caste are made to live on the outskirts of the city or the village. In South India, certain parts of the town or villages are not accessible to the untouchables still now. It is recorded that during the Peshwa rule in Maharashtra, two different types of caste has been segregated outside from their place. They were not allowed within the main gates of Pune before 9 a.m. and after 3 p.m. The reason was during that time their bodies could cast two long shadows which can able to fall on Brahmins who define them. In this way, the civil and religious disabilities had been carried out by the caste to the lower caste people. And next characteristics is restrictions on occupational choice. In the caste society, there is a gradation of occupation also. Some occupations are considered to be superior and sacred, while certain others branded as inferior, degrading. For a long time, occupations were very much associated with the caste system only, as if we see in the Varna system. Each caste had its own specific occupation. The caste members were expected to continue the same occupation. The occupations were almost hereditary. Weaving, shoemaking, oil grinding, sweeping, scavenging, curing, hides, tanning, washing clothes, barbering, and so on, were considered to be somewhat degrading. Learning, priesthood, and teaching were the prestigious profession which mostly the Brahmins would pursue. Individual talents, aptitudes, interests, abilities, and achievements were neglected those days. But agriculture, trade, and laboring in the field were thrown open to the all caste. At the same time, no caste would allow its member to take up to any profession which was either degrading or impure. In this way, the restrictions on the occupational system has been carried out with the name of caste in those days. And the last characteristic is restrictions on marriage. The caste system imposes restrictions on marriage also. Caste is an endogamous group. Endogamy is a rule of marriage according to which an individual has to marry within his or her group. Each caste is subdivided into several subcastes which are again endogamous. For example, Iyyars, Samarthas, Havik Brahmins, Shivali, Iyengars, these and all a same group, same caste group, but these are all a subcaste. All Brahmin subcaste which are endogamous. In the same way, the other caste consists of Nobada, Gangadigar, Murasu, Halikar, and all other subcaste. According to the rule of endogamy, a Brahmin, for example, a Shivali Brahmin has to marry a Shivali girl, and Iyengar has to do so. Intercaste marriages were strictly prohibited. Even at present, intercaste marriage have not been popular. Violation of the rules of endogamy was strictly dealt with during the early days. This rule of endogamy has resulted in close inbreeding. Some writers like Hunton regards endogamy as the very essence of caste system. These are the 6 characteristics of caste. Whereas some of the theories have been origin of the caste system. Origin of caste system is one of the most complex issues in sociological discussion. It is very difficult to say in precise terms the exact way in which the caste system originated. Researchers have been held in this regard have not been able to establish the facts relating to the origin of the caste system. Discussion and debates are still going on at the level of scholars regarding this issue. Dr. D. N. Mujumdar pointed out at the inability of the scholars to arrive a consensus on this issue when he said, "It is evident from the fact that after a century of painstaking and meticulous research in the history and the function of the social system, we do not possess yet a valid explanation of the circumstances that might have contributed to the formation and development of this unique system." With this only 3 different theories has been emerged, that is traditional theory, occupational theory and racial theory. Traditional theory. Ancient literature of India provides the main sources of this history or of this theory. The traditional theory believes that the caste system has been established by the divine ordinance or at least with the divine approval. According to this theory, the Brahmins emerged from the mouth of the Lord, whereas the Kshatriyas from the arms, and the Vaishyas from the thighs, and at last Sudras from the feet. These 4 varnas or social division have different function according to the place of their own origin. Mouth is the set of speech or knowledge. Hence, the task of the Brahmins is to serve society as teacher, as counselor or advisor, as a priest or as a thinker, whereas the arms or shoulders stand for the strength and heroism or valor. So the primary task of the Kshatriyas is to serve the society as a warrior or as a king, as a protector. And the third, Vaishyas have emerged from the thighs of the Creator, the thighs of the principal repository organs near the stomach. Hence, the primary duty of Vaishyas is to provide food for the members of society and to look after its economical well-being. And at last, Sudras have emerged from the feet of the Creator, and hence their duty is to serve others, just as a feet serve the other parts and organs of the body. For this traditional theory, some had been gave some criticism. For every theory or for every kind of theory or experiment, always there will be some criticism that has been said by some of the authors or a sociologist. Here, M. Srinivas, he has been criticized this traditional theory in three different ways. Firstly, the theory is criticized as a unscientific because biologically it is impossible for anyone to give rise to birth of a child through the mouth, shoulder, thighs or feet. Because this traditional theory is saying that each people, like Brahmins have been born from mouth, Kshatriyas have been born from arms, Vaishyas have been born from thighs, and Sudras from the mouth. So firstly he is saying that unscientifically, because biologically it is impossible for anyone to give rise to the birth of child through the mouth, shoulders, thighs or feet. This is the first point. Secondly, the theory considered 4 varnas as 4 castes. If this is accepted, it would mean that varna and not caste is the unit of the caste system. The real unit of the caste system is not varna but jati, which is a very small endogamous group. Thirdly, he considers this theory of the caste, which is highlights the idea of caste as the 4-fold division of the society, represent a gross oversimplification of facts. This is the criticism that has been denoted by M. N. Srinivas, traditional theory, and secondly, occupational theory. This theory was established by Nesfield. This theory tries to establish connection between the caste on the one hand and the occupation on the other. Theory assumes that caste originated in different occupations. According to this theory, if a particular group follows a hereditary occupation, it evolves into a caste in course of the time. This made it clear that difference of occupation was responsible for the difference of caste. He emphatically concluded that occupation alone is responsible for the origin of caste system. Those who performed pure or better or respectable came to a distinguished from the others who performed inferior, low-graded occupation. Those who followed the so-called pure occupation were regarded as a superior. Those who were engaged in dirty or low-graded occupation were looked down upon and were considered inferior. So, as per the logic of this theory, the hierarchy caste is associated with the hierarchy of occupation. So, this is the occupational theory says of. There are some of the criticism which is said by the same person, Dr. D.N. Mujumdar, for this theory. Firstly, this theory fails to explain the differences in the social status of various castes which practices the same occupation. This theory fails to explain the differences in the social status of the people who have been practicing the same occupation. Secondly, it is wrong to consider the occupational factor alone as the cause of the birth of caste system. These are the two criticisms that is being denoted by D.R. Mujumdar for this occupational theory. And the last one is racial theory. The main argument of this racial theory is that the differences different castes came into being become of immovable racial differences. Scholars such as Sir Herbert Risley, Dr. D.N. Mujumdar are the main protagonists of this theory. The champion of this theory contend that the division into caste is founded on an original diversity of races. These scholars are of the opinion that caste came into practice after the Aryans settled down in India. The theory believes that the so-called Aryans who came from the outside were comparatively fair complexion, such as tall and straight posture with a prominent nose. They had conquered the valley and in the course of time the whole of North India. The differences between the Aryans and non-Aryans was so prominent that it gave birth to the different caste groups. The Aryans, for example, never allowed the non-Aryans to participate in the religion activities. The racial differences has been presented in the classical form by eminent anthropologists who gave more importance to the invasion of Aryans into India and their efforts to conquer North India and to make the inhabitants their servant. For example, states that varies factors that characterize the caste society were the result in the first instance of the attempts on the part of upholders of the Brahminic civilization. There are some of the criticism that has been said by Hutton for this theory of racial theory. Firstly, according to Hutton, there is no consistency between racial interpretation of this theory and the available facts. There is no consistency. Secondly, the theory fails to give a proper explanation for the practice of untouchability. Thirdly, he denotes that this theory has failed to establish that hypergamy existed not only in India but also in other countries, whereas it gave rise to the caste system in India but not in other countries. This race, every country had invasion in those times, but only in India only invasion had led to a strengthen for caste system as per this racial theory. So what Hutton is saying is this theory has failed to establish the hypergamy existent not only in India but also in other countries. Finally, it is argued that the racial theory is a major weakness in the sense that it highlights the importance of purely racial factors and conveniently the forgets of other equally important factors. This is the third theory of that is racial theory. With that, a small conclusion about the things what are we seen today. The caste system has been started in fourth unit, and its definition and some of the characteristics and also the factors which facilitate the growth of caste system in India. Some of the six factors and the characteristics and the three different theories which is being said by the certain authors, three different theory, and the criticism of those theory which is being criticized by the certain authors. With it, I like to conclude the topic. Thank you.